Gymnastics is without limits vision.
It's a very determined performance, full of character. She starts off with this very big throw, completes 3 forward rolls, gets some bonus because she does 3 360-degree rotations before catching it. And moves on from there.
Please welcome Victoria Stamos, Lithuania.
Back we go to the top of the order. Victoria Stamos of Lithuania. .15-year-old Victoria Stamos from the United States of America, but competing for Lithuania. She was born in the USA, but Lithuanian family. 26.45 the score for Louise Christie. Nice to get to see this gymnast competing with the ball. She's the reigning Lithuanian champion with the ball, and it almost went according to plan. Farah Fezic of Bosnia and Herzegovina started with 19.3 for her ball routine. This is a massive learning experience for Farah Fezic of Bosnia and Herzegovina. She only performed with 2 pieces at the last European Championships, her debut championships. Now she's doing all 4. It's a big change for her. It's a big step up.
It adds a lot to the program, and it also adds perhaps pressure on yourself.
23.7 for Victoria Stamos. Fausta Shostakaite, who started with 26.15 with the hoop. You really have to feel for Fausta Shostakaite. It has been such a wretched start to the competition for a really fine gymnast. Well, there's nothing that one can say to ease the pain that she'll feel for how it's gone today. But you cannot judge a gymnast on one single competition. We've got to look holistically at her work. 18.55 the score for Farah Fezic. Amila Becirovic of Bosnia and Herzegovina. From Bosnia and Herzegovina, Amila Becirovic. There were some really fun parts to that routine. A vivacious piece of music, some nice choreography to match it. Regrettably, the apparatus just didn't cooperate with her.
Sometimes the apparatus seems to grow a mind of its own and it doesn't behave. But you're right, this is a routine of a completely different style and character than she showed us with the ball. It's nice to see the versatility that she can transition between characters and play two such different roles.
And judging what the hoop is going to do when you lose control of it is so difficult because it doesn't behave in a uniform manner. The way it will roll, the spin that it might have on it, where it actually goes, whether it goes off the competition floor and then comes back on after you've taken the replacement apparatus. I mean, it is an apparatus that an elite rhythmic gymnast makes look easy. We had some real fun at the Commonwealth Games with the arena presenters there, one of whom was Mimi Caesar, and she was demonstrating in front of the crowd how to use a hoop, and then she would pass it over to an elite level artistic gymnast to have a go with. And this is somebody who can fly around on the uneven bars and backflip on a balance beam, but they can't make a hoop behave like it's supposed to behave. And when you are a rhythmic gymnast, you make it look simple, but it is not.
And it's so easy to become desensitized to how difficult this work really is.
24.8 for Fausta Shostakoite. A very good start from this gymnast. What now? Alexandra Aggiorgio-Colesi of Italy began with 30.05 with the hoop. Did you miss me, she asks to the European Championships fans. Yes, they reply in unison. 18.5 for Amila Becirovic. And another gymnast who has given us such diversity in their first two performances. This moment, wow.
This was gutsy, and she puts her hands over her face, and I actually wonder if that wasn't kind of a reaction to casting the ball a bit too far forward to her liking. And in the canon of great improvisation in catching, that was fantastic.
It looked like she was halfway out of the building before managing to get control of that. It was a brilliant piece of gymnastics. Daniela Munitz of Israel started with 30.2 with the ball. the signs of a very complete gymnast are there with Daniela Muniz. Exciting signs. 30.2 for Alexandra Agiurgiu-Kulese. That has her in 11th place in all-around qualification.
There are flashes of absolute brilliance in this routine. The backwards illusions are sublime. And artistically, perhaps we are not seeing the gymnast that she is going to develop into in this exercise. Not quite yet.
The reigning world champion with the ball, Sofia Raffaelli of Italy. Had a bit of a tricky start with the hoop. To be so busy and to yet seem as though you have all the time in the world. Sofia Raffaelli of Italy with yet another jam-packed display. It is interesting, isn't it, Blythe, to scrutinise where her difficulty comes from.
Yes, it is. Part of it is in rotations like this, the penché pivot and then the side scale with her free leg bent. That is her own element. She developed and pioneered that, and really nobody does it better than she does. But the ball always in motion, always being thrown or rolled or having something done to it. But above that, this is a routine that is fresh as a morning. It's full of bird song and light and grace. And it's just beautiful to take in.
And strangely, one feels as though one has time to take it in when it's so easy for routines that are loaded with such complexity to feel a little on the excessively busy side.
And this feels deceptively simple, almost. But of course, we look at the slow-mo and we discover that, no, it's not at all. We're also learning something about Raffaelli's character. Very rarely in major international competition has she made a mistake so early. And what we've learned today is that she can allow that mistake to pass, come out, and do an excellent second routine. The chaîné turns into the back walkover and straight into her fouette pivots. Leg well at horizontal.
It's very good from an execution standpoint, but it is also extremely good from an artistry standpoint.
Is it cliche to talk about the full package? Because it feels like this is one of those routines that does have everything. The execution, the difficulty, and a lovely sense of artistry.
There are many who would say that all sporting cliches are born out somewhere in truth. They might be overused and they might be sometimes incorrectly used, but at the heart of it, they make sense, and I think it does for this. It'll be interesting to see how it compares to the highest ball score we've seen so far, which is Nikolova on 34.6. It's a 29.9 for Daniela Muniz. That will have her nicely positioned from an all-around point of view. Having started impressively with a score of 31, Adi Asia-Katz now performs with the hoop. Adi Katz representing Israel, performing to music originally by Eurythmics. And always worth pointing out that the band took their name from a style of performance art developed by Emil Jacques Dalcroze and Adolf Appia. We'll come back to that because Raffaelli scores 33. As I was saying, Adolf Appia and Emil Jacques Dalcroze at the Hellerau Institute in Germany in the early 1900s, one of the inspirations for rhythmic gymnastics as a sport. It was partly developed there, so good to choose Eurythmics. Alba Bautista of Spain started with a lovely hoop performance, 31.45. First half of the competition completed. Alba Bautista of Spain breathing a sigh of relief and bursting into a big smile at the end of that display, and entitled to after a really good first half.
This is what you work for. Some days it just all comes together and you hope that they are the days when you are going to compete. It's another very secure performance from Alba Bautista. And the complex elements very well performed, but what you're left with once again is just an overwhelming sense of the passion that she has, that she infuses her routines with.
32.25 for Adi Katz with the hoop. Fifth best score so far. And what that means is that Sofia Raffaelli is now sitting in 8th place in hoop qualification. The world champion is really in a nervous position with gymnasts still to go. Angela Majibrada. Welcome back to Angela Majibrada, a return to the European Championships. It's her debut as an individual competitor, but she was part of the Serbian group in Budapest in 2017. It's her first international competition as an individual, and she is an undergraduate in the Faculty of Diplomacy and Security at University in Belgrade.
And credit to her, we've already talked at length about how difficult it is to transition from group to individual and vice versa. And she's tasked with carrying, as an individual, a performance all on her own. And with this hoop routine, she clearly does that. You could take this, the music, the orchestration, the choreography, put it in a grand opera house anywhere in the world, and it would carry its own.
It's a nice choice of orchestration, wasn't it, actually? Quite different from anything we've had for a little while. .05 for Alba Bautista. That has her in 9th place in all-around qualification. Representing Spain, Polina Berezina started with a wonderful performance with the hoop. Can she keep the momentum going? It's another display from Polina Berezina that has been thoroughly thought through with a clear artistic concept. 22.4 is the score for Angela Mazibrada. Allusions to wushu, to traditional Chinese martial art in this display.
There is a real sense that the carpet is her canvas, isn't there?
Well, she is, after all, a student, or a graduate, I should say, of audiovisual communication. Representing Serbia, it is Masha Tosic. Started with 24.65 with the ball. As a junior, Masha Tosic made the top 20 with the hoop at the European Championships last year. 30.2 is the score for Polina Berezina. And that has her in 11th position in the all-around qualification process.
This is a softer take on Metallica's Enter Sandman.
Five more performances remain in this very busy day of qualification. Representing San Marino, once again we see Matilde Tamagnini, who scored 21.4 with the hoop. That feels like we've seen much more of the real Matilde Tamagnini with that performance. Very nice recovery after a difficult start with the hoop.
Yes, it was a routine that showed great strength of character. And not only because she did have problems in her first performance. It's great concentration on the unsighted catch using her legs, not her hands.
25.95 the score for Masha Tosic. Up by 1.3 from her display with the ball, so that's a nice way to finish her day. Andrea Verdej of Romania. Andrea Verdej of Romania. She's very experienced. This is her 7th European Championships. 24.25 the score for Matilde Tamagnini. Just going back to Andrea Verdej, she's been as high as 10th in the all-around competition. She was 19th last time. She'll go and regroup after tonight and get ready for tomorrow's competition. Camilla Rossi of San Marino, 25.7 with the hoop. a musical and enjoyable display from Camilla Rossi of San Marino, from Borgo Maggiore, a part of the country and a part of the world that grew in prominence after Alessandra Perilli, who's from there, won 2 Olympic medals in sport shooting in Tokyo.
She has real potential to be one of the greats from her nation. And you see glimmers of it, even in these performances. They weren't error-free, but again, there's great potential.
Second performance for Annelies Dragan of Romania. The Romanian gymnast Annelies Dragan, she started with a score of 31 with the ball. A lot of really strong work from her today. 25.8 for Andrea Verdej. And we look back at her teammates' performance.
No doubt about it, she is a rising star on the international scene. The throw without her hands, the chaîné turns, and the catch. She does such a good job with her balances too.
22.35 for Camilla Rossi. Having started with a score of 28 with the hoop, now Marfa Ekimova performs with the ball. She is the British champion with this piece. 1966, England won the Football World Cup with a goal that was very hotly contested. Did it or didn't it cross the line? Marfa Ekimova has just done her own version of Sir Geoff Hurst there at the start of the routine with an absolutely remarkable save.
It is not out of bounds until it touches the ground. And the line is in. So that was not out of bounds. Nothing to see here, nothing out of the ordinary. Well, a little bit out of the ordinary all the same. There will be an execution deduction. But in terms of contenders for save of the day, that's a very strong one.
And also, while we're at it, Sir Geoff Hurst definitely was over the line.
Are you sure?
No. Had some difficulties right at the end of the routine. Just a little loss of the ball, but around all of that is that characteristic intensity and quickness of a very athletic and agile gymnast.
Yes, and she uses her whole body so well, including her head. That's not something that all gymnasts do.
She was well positioned after the hoop. Ekimova, 21st place.
Well,
29.65 for Annalise Dragan with the hoop, and I can tell you that means, as the score of 23.75 comes in for Marfa Ekimova, that Sofia Raffaelli has made the hoop final as the 8th strongest qualifier. Louise Christie of Great Britain performing with the ball, having started with a 26.45 with the hoop. A final performance of the day in this first day of qualification. It comes from Louise Christie, the sport scholar and finalist in applied sport and exercise science at Aberdeen's Robert Gordon University.
And speaking of intensity, the same intensity that we saw from Marfa Ekimova, clearly present in the work of Louise Christie. Brilliant sense of artistry and the butterflies combination.
She really gets takeoff, doesn't she, on those skills?
She gets a lot of lift. She's quite powerful in the pre-acrobatic elements. Did a wonderful sequence of fouette turns at the end as well. Here's another look at the butterflies. Each of them worth 5/10 of a point. So an important sequence for her. One of the requirements, catching the ball with one hand at some point during the routine. Generally not a problem for gymnasts to fulfill. And the dynamic element with rotation, catching in a front walkover. Incorporating facial expressions into the choreography is encouraged by the Code of Points. And it does help to add a sense of theatricality to things.
And certainly if you are Louise Christie and one of your idols is Salome Peshava, that's important to you.
Oh, she was a gem, Peshava, especially when it came to artistry.
The last score of the day is in, 27.3 for Louise Christie. That has her in 28th position in all-around qualification. So she's certainly in touching distance going into tomorrow. Now we will let the dust settle and look at the numbers. And the crowd begins to disperse from the National Gymnastics Arena in Baku, Azerbaijan. They have popped the lights on, and it certainly will make for some illumination for us as we now look at the qualification situation. These are your hoop finalists, led by Victoria Onoprienko, but only just ahead of Boriana Kalane. First reserve is Yekaterina Vedenyeva. So as I mentioned earlier, Sofia Raffaeli just makes it in. I look right the way down the order when it comes to hoop qualification. And that is the last we'll see of that apparatus until Saturday's all-around final. Tomorrow will be about clubs and ribbon. And just looking right the way through, I mean, so many gymnasts have taken to the competition floor. Really gives you a sense of just how good you've got to be to get into that top 8. Here are the qualifiers for the ball final. Victoria Onoprienko, having led the way for hoop, just gets in to ball with Nikolova, the top performer. Alba Bautista again is in a reserve position. Second reserve for the hoop final, first reserve for the ball final. Really good effort from her. Very fine day of gymnastics from the Spaniard. And that leaves us just with the rather small and extremely significant matter of the all-around qualification standings at the moment. This is how it looks. It's Bulgaria 1 and 2. Raffaeli, the world champion, in third place. These are the gymnasts who are in a pretty decent position, but with a lot still to do with clubs and ribbon. These are the gymnasts who are in a position not to feel at all comfortable, but having done well today and are dreaming of being in that all-around final. These are the ones they got to watch out for. This is the chasing pack. These are those who hope to improve upon their performance and placing today and really push into the leading positions, those top 24. For all of the gymnasts that have taken part today, it's been great entertainment as we look down the order and remind ourselves of some of the performances and performers that we have seen. It has been a hugely busy session, around 150 routines of rhythmic gymnastics on this first day of qualification. World Championship places up for grabs, apparatus final places, all-around final places, team success as well. There is so much that is being contested and still to be contested as we head into the second day of competition tomorrow. And some of the gymnasts here artificially lower than they really are because they only performed one routine today. We'll have a look back at some of the moments of the day. It's been a great pleasure having your company. I've been Ollie Hogben. Joining me was Blythe Lawrence, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Tous les whisky pour moi ont le même goût.
Сердце не бьется, мам, что со мною будет? To make you do.
To Anadonia. All that's left.
Con la gioia e col dolore della gente come me.
Sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I to disagree? Travel the world and
La vida es hermosa, no entiendo el veneno. No quiero. Si acaso quiere romper la familia, si acaso quiere que lloremos sangre. Con la gioia e col dolore della gente come me.
sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I to disagree? Travel the world and
La vida es hermosa, no entiendo el veneno. No quiero. acaso quiere romper la familia, si acaso quiere que lloremos sangre.